All right, picture this. You're standing right there in the used golf shop, staring at two sets of Titleist irons. Over on the left, you've got the 714 AP1. On the right, the slightly newer 716 AP1. To the naked eye, they look practically identical. Right, but the 716 has a noticeably higher price tag, simply because it's newer. So is it actually worth handing over that extra cash? Or is the older 714 the smarter buy for the everyday player? Honestly, nothing is worse than getting buyer's remorse before you even reach the first tee. Welcome back to Golf Gear Showdown, where we put golf gear head-to-head. I'm Mike, and I focus on the specs, the design, and the data. And I'm Jake. I'm representing all the everyday 15 handicappers out there who absolutely hate watching people waste their hard-earned money. Today, we're bringing you a complete explainer on the Titleist 714 AP1 versus 716 AP1 battle. Trust me, the winner here is not nearly as obvious as it looks.
Let's just be honest for a second. There's literally nothing more frustrating than paying a massive premium for a newer iron model, taking it out to the course, and then realizing it doesn't actually help your game any more than the cheaper option would have.
Exactly. We see golfers do this all the time because the allure of shiny new technology is incredibly strong. People just automatically assume a newer badge equals better scores.
Well, today we're breaking down the facts so you know exactly what you're paying for. We'll find out if that 714 sitting on the discount rack is actually the smartest buy you can make this year.
Let's set up this matchup. Both of these iron sets are squarely aimed at beginners, mid-handicappers, and average golfers. Basically, these are for players who really want that classic, clean Titleist look, but desperately need some help launching the ball and getting away with bad strikes. You know, a lot of golfers compare these two specifically because they want the Titleist badge without paying those insane current model retail prices. Just don't fall for the marketing hype that says these two perform identically just because they both say AP1 on the back. Depending on what you actually value on the course, one of these is for sure a noticeably better buy. Yeah, and make sure you stick around for our price and value breakdown later on. The result there completely flips this whole matchup upside down for a ton of buyers.
We're putting these irons through 6 grueling rounds to find our winner. We've got distance and performance, forgiveness, accuracy and control, feel and confidence, price and value, and finally, golfer fit.
Let's jump right into round 1, distance and performance.
So, if your very first question is, which one of these goes farther, the slight edge here goes to the 716 AP1. Based on design intent, the 716 gives you a little more help creating an easy launch. That's because Titleist moved high-density tungsten low end to the perimeter of the clubhead, plus it features a 360-degree undercut cavity. That specific engineering preserves ball speed incredibly well when your contact isn't perfect, especially in those really hard-to-hit longer irons. Now hold on a minute, Mike. Are we absolutely sure raw distance is what average golfers really need out of this specific category? I mean, the 714 AP1 is certainly no short hitter. It still offers really solid game improvement performance across the board without needing all that extra weight manipulation. I agree the 714 isn't short, Jake. It's got plenty of pop. But if a player's main goal is easier carry and just wringing a little more distance out of an average, imperfect swing, the 716 simply does that better. Most golfers report a noticeable jump in how easy it is to get the ball airborne. So round 1 goes to the 716 AP1 specifically for those needing distance help without perfect contact.
All right, moving into round 2, forgiveness.
Listen up, because for most weekend golfers, this category matters way more than raw distance ever will. Just notice the profiles of these two clubs side by side. Both are incredibly friendly by Titleist standards. However, common feedback suggests the 716 AP1 is the much safer club when your strike pattern starts moving all around the club face. Spot on. If you chunk it slightly, thin it, or catch it low on the face, the 716 generally steps in to save your score. It simply makes your bad swings look a little less bad compared to the 714. The 714 is a friendly club, don't get me wrong. But forgiveness isn't about hitting one massive, perfect shot on the driving range. It is all about how many of your shots stay usable over a long 18-hole round.
Exactly. When you're standing on the 16th tee and your legs are tired, you want the club that keeps your ball in play. You want the visual of your ball finding the front edge of the green on a thin strike instead of bouncing dead right into the woods.
That's exactly why round 2 goes firmly to the 716 AP1. It maximizes help on your everyday mishits way better than the 714 does.
Okay, round 3, accuracy and control.
Before you assume the newer club automatically wins this one too, pay close attention, because what accuracy actually means on a golf course is heavily misunderstood. I'm going to step in right here and argue for the 714 AP1. When we talk about control, I personally want a predictable flight and a straightforward feel. The
The 714 feels a little simpler, maybe a little less jumpy off the face. You know exactly what the ball is going to do when you make a solid swing.
I hear you, Jake, but I have to strongly disagree here. For the demographic actually buying these game improvement irons, accuracy is really about consistency across the entire face. Most golfers report that the 716 offers far more playable results on imperfect swings. It is just a much more stable option when things go wrong. High MOI designs literally resist twisting at impact.
Okay, fair point. If we define accuracy as keeping the ball between the tree lines when you don't pure it, yeah, the 716 has the edge. A predictable block into the pond doesn't help anyone's scorecard.
Exactly. Which means the round 3 winner is the 716 AP1, for keeping more of your iron shots in play when your swing inevitably gets a little sloppy.
Let's get into round 4, feel and confidence.
This is a highly subjective category for sure, but it's the psychological side of golf that can absolutely make or break your swing. Standing over the ball, you desperately want a club that inspires confidence. Notice how both of these have clean game improvement looks without being massive, clunky shovels. They still look like real golf clubs. Very true.
But there is a distinct difference in how they feel at impact. Some golfers really prefer a club that isn't overly hot or loaded with a heavy, tech-focused feel. Sound translates heavily into feel, and modern technology sometimes numbs the feedback compared to older, simpler casts.
That is exactly why the 714 AP1 shines here. It delivers that really traditional Titleist vibe. The 716 has a slightly more tech-heavy, clicky feel as a trade-off for all that extra forgiveness and tungsten weighting. If you want a simpler feel that makes you actually want to hit a 7-iron again, the 714 is extremely hard to beat. I can't argue with the acoustic feedback differences there. The 714 just sounds more traditional. So, round 4 goes to the 714 AP1 for players who prioritize traditional confidence and a simpler feel over maximum technological help.
Here we go, round 5, price and value.
Because both of these are older sets, this entire battle comes down to the used market. The 716 often carries a noticeably higher used premium simply because it has a newer number stamped on the back.
This is the smart shopper move that most guys completely miss when scrolling online. The trap is assuming you just have to buy the newer model. Check the actual price gap on the used rack. If you find a clean 714 AP1, you get excellent performance for significantly less money.
Precisely. If the price gap is tiny, sure, you lean 716. But if the 716's price starts climbing $50 to $100 higher, the 714 becomes a massive steal. The round 5 winner is the 714 AP1 for being the standout smart buy on a budget.
Finally, round 6, golf for fit. All right, stay with us here. We're pivoting from the tech specs to a rapid-fire breakdown. Let's see which club matches your exact profile so you don't make a costly mistake. Beginners, you take the 716 for more help. Mid-handicappers missing the center of the face, you also take the 716. High handicappers and slicers who need maximum stability, 716 gets the nod again. Seniors with slower swing speeds needing an easy launch, absolutely the 716. But what about the budget buyers wanting solid performance without overspending? That is the 714 all day. Distance seekers, 716. Forgiveness seekers, 716. Value seekers wanting a traditional feel, 714. It really splits the crowd depending on your wallet and your typical miss.
Let me give you some insider advice right now. The biggest buying mistake you can make in the specific matchup is simply buying the newer model automatically just because it says 716 on the sole.
Oh, it happens constantly at local shops.
I literally almost did that myself a few years ago. I bought a newer model with a stiff shaft I had absolutely no business swinging, when the older model with a regular flex was sitting right there for half the price. Think about this closely, guys. Shaft fit, lie angle, and the overall wear on a used club matter immensely. A properly fit, clean 714 AP1 with fresh grips will easily outperform a poorly fit, worn-out 716 with a shaft that doesn't match your swing. Please don't blindly buy the newer head and ignore the rest of the club.
Let's do a fast, honest pros and cons list here. No brand protection whatsoever. For the 714 AP1, the pros are its strong used market value, that clean traditional Titleist look, and plenty of reliable performance. The cons? It offers noticeably less help on off-center strikes than the newer versions. For the 716 AP1, the pros are better all-around forgiveness, an easier launch, and supreme confidence on your absolute worst miss hits. The cons? Well, it costs more used, and the actual performance gap might not feel huge for everyone. These clubs just win for very different types of players.
Here is the final scoreboard.
best for overall performance, beginners, mid-handicappers, high handicappers, seniors, forgiveness, and distance all go to the 716 AP1. But best value, best on a strict budget, and the premier choice for the used market, those go firmly to the 714 AP1. Oh, and if you have absolutely no budget limit at all, you probably shouldn't be looking at either of these used sets anyway. Go get fit for something brand new. So, is the upgrade actually worth it? For pure all-around performance, the 716 AP1 takes the overall crown. But if you are watching your wallet, the 714 AP1 cements itself as the absolute smartest buy on the used market.
Now we want to hear from you. Which side of the fence are you on? Are you taking the 714 or the 716? Drop your exact handicap and your pick down in the comments right now.
And let us know what gear battle you want to see next on Golf Gear Showdown. Maybe the TaylorMade P790s versus the Callaway Apex. If this explainer helped you save some money or make a smarter choice, hit that subscribe button for more head-to-head